Welcome to the 6 Minutes of Game podcast. I'm your host, King Les. Man. There are people from Nazarite, and there are people who are Nazarite, like Nazarite the clan, Nazi the clan, right? And like Jesus would be from the town of Nazareth, but I don't think he would qualify as Nazarite because he did have wine and drink, and he did kind of intermingle with, I guess, with the dead. Remember, he raised Lazarus. Remember the head officer's daughter. He came and told her to rise from the dead. He wouldn't really qualify, but anyway. So there are 12 tribes of Israel. We'll break down how Islam became. All these are theoretical, but how Islam became a thing, how Christianity became a thing after Judaism, and we'll just go in it. These are things that I believe happened. So we have the 12 tribes of Israel, which descend from the sons of Jacob, which, Jacob, the name Jacob was converted to the name Israel. It means struggles with God, because Jacob fought with God and won in that tent that night. And so we have Reuben, Simeon, and Judah. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, first four sons born of Leah. Dan, Naphtali, sons born of Rachel's maid, Bilhah. Gad and Asher, Issachar and Zebulun, Joseph and Benjamin, Ephraim and Manasseh. And so so you have Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. So you have like the northern kingdom of Israel, comprised of 10 northern tribes, later dispersed by Assyria, right? And then you have the lower, or the southern kingdom, which is Judah, and it's comprised mainly of the tribes of Judah and Benjamin, along with members of Levi. Survivors from this southern kingdom are the historical ancestors of modern Jews. So the name Judah is the root of Judaism. That's what Judaism starts at, right? And if Judaism, so if a whole body of people descend from a name like Judah, you could probably guess that that's where said religion started, because you're named after it. I don't see like a country named Christianity or Jehovah or Islam or Prophet Elijah Muhammad. Or definitely not the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. He came from Detroit. So anyway, so if there's a whole land of people called Judah, and that's the base for Judaism, I think that we could probably go on to say that that's the beginning of religion. That's where religion started. So the beginning of religion, the first place, the birthplace of religion, would be the religion that I call the truest religion, right? So we have to remember that to the north of Israel there was Persia, there was Assyria, and then to the south there was Africa, and there were like the tribes of Judah, and then so you got to remember, manuscripts came up missing. People lost manuscripts. People lost religious doctrines. Couldn't find them. They went north, they went south, they went east, they went west. And you got to remember, we weren't privy to like compasses and to like boats like that. So we don't know what was east or west of us, but we know to the north of us was Asia, which is now considered Asia. And then to the south of us was what we'll consider Africa. And then Israel will be the land flowing of milk and honey. And I think that that's more of a analogy, so to speak. There's a peninsula. Israel's a peninsula. It's surrounded by bodies of water. So to the west, you probably would have like the slave trade, and you would have weapons or like wood or things to protect and provide for your family. And then to the east, you probably would have things like fish and tons of oil and things like that. So it was just very, 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 very. It was flourishing, and it was very, 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 very prosperous. The economy was booming, you could say. So that would be the land flowing of milk and honey. I don't think it would be. I think it was hypothetical milk and honey. I do not think that it was like literal milk and honey. So, however, the religious doctrine is created in written in Aramaic. So this is the first doctrine, the first religious scriptures. Everything you find is written in Aramaic. And then religious doctrine is taken north to Europe, and it's translated into Greek or whatever it may have been translated into there, and then it was later on given to America, or we later adopted it. So that's been, now we say it starts in Aramaic, it went to Europe, and then it was transferred over, through hands to America. That's 4 hands. That's 4 different translations. That's why it's very, very, very. It's imperative that you footnote what you read, and you go and study, get you a concordance. And then to the south you have Islam, the birth of Islam, right? Because we know, or we knew, something was taken from us, and we're being deprived of what was taken from us. So we kind of probably had notes, or probably had scriptures of our own that we wrote down, and we just kind of adopted as our own. So you have the one that was stolen from us, and then the one that was created, but both derived from Judaism, or from a Torah, both the Holy Quran and the Holy Bible. And so you can probably guess which manuscript came first, which religion came first, if you were ever wondering. Like I said, there's a whole tribe, a whole country of people named after said religion, which would probably tell me that this religion came first, and that this body of people were influential to religion, as far as Islam and Christianity and other religions. Now, the famous Nazarites of the Bible are like Samson and Samuel, and it says John the Baptist was believed to be Nazarite, and not Nazarene, or not from the town of Nazareth, like I said, but Nazarite. Which a Nazarite vow is a voluntary, temporary, or lifelong pledge of total consecration and holiness to God, outlined in the Hebrew Bible in Numbers 6, 1 through 21, open to both men and women. It required 3 strict rules: abstaining from all grape products, never cutting one's hair, and avoiding ritual impurity from corpses. Core rules of the vow: no grape products. The person could not drink wine, strong drink, or grape juice, nor eat fresh grapes, raisins, seeds, or the skin of grapes. No haircuts. No razor could touch the person's head for the duration of the vow. The growing hair served as a visible sign of dedication to God. Ritual purity. The individual could not go near a dead body, even that of an immediate family member, mother, father, brother, or sister, to maintain ceremonial cleanliness. Breaking and completing the vow: accidental contact. If someone died suddenly near the Nazarite, rendering them unclean, they had to shave their heads on the day of cleansing, offer sacrifices, and restart the entire duration of the vow from the beginning. Completion. When the time of the vow ended, the person brought specific offerings to the tent of meeting or temple, shaved their hair, and placed it on the fire under the peace offering. Afterward, they were free to drink wine again. So, like I said, biblical examples: Samson, set apart from birth as a Nazarite by an angel's command, known for his incredible strength tied to his uncut hair. Samuel, also dedicated to God from an early age by his mother Hannah. Paul and others participated in or completed purification rites associated with Nazarite vows, as described in the book of Acts. The symbolism and meaning behind each restriction. The differences between temporary and lifelong vows. So it doesn't have to be a vow of abstinence, right? But the abstinence became a thing for me because it helped. It helped for me to place God above the one thing that I prioritize over all things, and that's sex, and that's money, and that's women. And once I was able to do that, even past God, not to sound blasphemous, but once I was able to do that, I was able to prioritize correctly. Once I was able to maneuver women or beauty or sex or any of those things out of my view, and what was in my peripheral, what I wasn't solely focused on became my sole focus, and that's what I seen first. Once women wasn't at the forefront, and like I said, it's a day by day thing. So like once you fight the urge to splurge day 1, you'll use that as motivation day 2, then day 4, day 8, then day 16. But it's the thing, it's something you'd have to want to do. And so that's the Nazi thing summed up in a bunch. It just is. It's imperative as a people, if we do not know where we've been or who we are, that we study and we find out so that we can try to write where we're going. There is no direction because there is no history. And we're like, well, we don't know where we came from. We don't know where we belong. And the easiest history to follow is biblical, or that of the Torah, or that of the Holy Quran, because it's history and it's true. And we know it's true because it's spanned from 3 different manuscripts over hundreds of years. And then we can go back and check the history and see if these things really existed. And then that gives us something to go off of as a people. There is no history. You're on 23andMe or whatever the other one is, trying to figure out where you come from, and so you could teach your kids where they come from. And man, it's just easier to study that history, learn that history, and develop an identity from that, as opposed to trying to figure out what it's like in the Republic of Congo and if we can go on a vacation. And remember, that's my time in at 6 minutes. Again, my name is King Lex A. Tap in with 6 minutes a game for all your sporting updates and highlights, current events, politics, any type of news. Facebook, Instagram, soon on the Podbean app, and most definitely 6 minutes a game, the podcast, wherever you get your podcast fix.